Hello everyone. This week we're going to be talking about strings and string manipulation. So in previous weeks we've mentioned some aspects about strings and also some aspects about lists. And you're going to find out in Python you're going to be able to take the same concepts that you learned about lists and apply them to strings, along with some other interesting string methods. When we talk about cybersecurity, especially cryptanalysis and cryptography, log parsing using regular expressions, having a good command of manipulating strings is going to be super important for the work that you're going to be doing. So let's begin. We have a spam variable, and we're just going to be using idle for most of this. We have our spam variable, and we're going to set it equal to the best meat ever. Apologies if you're a vegetarian or vegan. Spam's kind of funny, so we're just going to talk about spam. So, that's great. The best meat ever, spam, and we display spam, and we see that it's a string. The best meat ever. We can also set it to, and you see I use double quotes there. You can use either single or double quotes. However, if you use single quotes, oftentimes you'll need to use escape characters. Or if you want to use both, you'll have to use escape characters. So in this string, just normal string, nothing special. Let's say this time spam is equal to Matt's can of spam. And now if we display spam, we see Matt's can of spam, and it's perfectly fine. We have double quotes encapsulating a string with a single quote inside. We could even do, let's say we want to do a single quote. Spam equals Matt's can of spam. Now, you notice the colors changed. We're going to get an error here. Syntax error, invalid syntax. Why? Because Python thinks the string ends here at this second single quote and doesn't know what to do with the rest of the string. So we can use something called an escape character, which is a backslash and a tick mark. A single quote, Matt's can of spam. And now if we display spam, we see it's Matt's can of spam, and it accepted it just fine. So oftentimes, if you need to put a single quote within a single quote encapsulated string, or a double quote in a double quote encapsulated string, you can use an escape character or a backslash, just like in other programming languages you've seen, to allow it to be included within that string. So if we had an example, spam equals Matt says it's quote good, end quote, and we hit this again, it'll be an error, as Python says, since we started the string with a double quote, now we're ending it with a double quote here, we can use an escape character. Matt says it's good, and Python accepts the string. So that is an escape character. Now, if you've noticed, I've typed in just a string here. This right here, oftentimes you'll have this referred to, and maybe I've slipped and said it as a string literal. So it literally is, and everybody loves to say literally, and I say it too, literally is a string. It is a string. It's not in a variable. It's just the value. It's a literal value. Automate the Boring Stuff talks about some escape characters this week. So when you're learning about the basics of strings, grab it from Automate the Boring Stuff. And then when you want to start thinking about your lab this week, that's where the next textbook comes into play. the Python scripting book that I've listed in Blackboard. But anyways, there's a number of escape characters, so a single quote and a double quote, we've seen those. But there's also tab and new line, and if you want to use a backslash, always important, you have to escape it. So let's say we have my spam is now a file path equals c:/foo/bar, and we hit enter. You see there's a problem here. This is not what we wrote, right? Python thinks these slashes are escape characters and uses that notation to signify what character it should use. So in a string literal, if you want to use a backslash, spam equals c:/foo //bar, that will give you the use of a backslash. Python will now recognize that as an actual backslash. Tab \t spam equals great \t food. That will show a tab. If you went and print that to the screen, you see the space here. That's a single character tab character. Spam, we could write dear Matt /n, the spam was fantastic, /n Bob. Now if we print this to the screen, we see we're on 3 lines now because I've used what's called the new line character, \n. And Python interprets that to mean go to a new line. So those are some of the basic escape characters that you'll see. Let's say, though, that you do not want Python to evaluate your escape characters. You can use what's called a raw string. So if we print the spam was fantastic, you see here I encapsulated the string literal in double quotes, and here I have a single or double quote with an escape character. When I run that command, it's going to show double quotes. But if I want to print, just to save some time, if I want to print the escape characters, I use the R in front of the string literal to indicate that this is a raw string. You're not going to use raw strings that often. R in front of a string converts it to a raw string. B in front of a string converts it to a byte sequence. And if you looked at the function I wrote in week 3 where I was handling your zip file password to open the passwords you were trying in the zip file, you should have noticed in the password argument I passed in the function I wrote, there was a B in front of the string. That was because the function parameter of the zip file module in Python accepted byte values. So I essentially converted the string to a byte string using this shortened syntax. And the R syntax is, again, just a trick in Python that tells it, hey, do not convert my characters. Python allows you to use triple quotes. So let's say we want to print a letter, triple. Dear Matt, the spam was great. Bob. This will print 3 lines without you having to do the new line escape character. You could do the same thing with a triple double quote. And again, it will print, automatically insert new line characters where you hit enter. Something to note in Python 3 that's new is multi-line comments. So instead of using hash marks, and this is in your Python files, you can use triple double quotes. So triple double quote to make a multi-line comment. Oftentimes, though, people still do hash character, # hashtag for comments, and I still do that. You can use triple quotes. I think they're harder to read. It's a style issue. If it's something you would like to do, you're welcome to do it. So that is some string basics. Next, we're going to be talking about using strings as lists. So essentially accessing strings as if you were accessing list items, as well as f-strings and string interpolation.